Hello and welcome to a super quick overview of checking your deck for your prizes. You may have learned how to play the game, but what should you prioritize on your first turn? Obviously, energy, attachments, and getting out Pokemon is paramount, but when you go into your deck, what actions should you take? What cards should you take note of? Is this any harder to do in GLC? Well, in short, every deck has something different to prioritize looking at, and figuring that out takes time and practice. However, I hope to give you some tips on what to watch out for. Tip number 1. Is your main goal of your deck available? This singular sentence summarizes the meaning behind deck check. Knowing the main goal of your deck overall or in a specific matchup will determine what cards are valuable and needed in your current game. Then you deck check to make sure those pieces exist. For example, in my Shenpao Pidgeot list, checking to make sure I have my Shenpaos, Greninja, Backsline, and Rare Candies are the most important part of my deck check. But depending on my matchup, I will also prioritize seeking out Manaphy. Though a little more clunky in the singleton format of GLC, this thought process also applies. Every type has a few key main attackers and a main support line, and checking to make sure those are available as early as possible will help you navigate your game plan throughout your match. Don't have a main goal for your deck? You may need to rethink your deck building a little bit and narrow down one or two main attackers to rely upon. For a more detailed way to fix up your deck, check out my deck building guide in the description down below. Tip number 2. Making your deck check visually easier. Keeping the random order of your deck while you're deck checking can easily lead to confusion and skipping over valuable information. In cases where you really need to make sure you have a certain card or cards, having a way to visually separate them from the rest of the pack is extremely useful. Some players accomplish this by playing different variations of every single copy of card. I don't think this is entirely necessary, but it could make your deck checking easier. A way more budget-friendly version of this is either popping up important cards or moving them to the front or back for easier grouping. If you do move cards around in your deck, be sure to properly shuffle after you complete your actions for your turn or before you draw cards off of the top of your deck. In a tournament setting, always offer your deck to your opponent for a cut or tap, but it's not illegal to move cards around in your deck to make the information easier to read. And as always, the simplest prize check is actually checking your prizes with an item card or supporter. Anyways, I hope this short video was a helpful guide to checking your deck, and if it is, be sure to share it with a friend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye!